Okay, hey guys. So today we're gonna do some basic effects editing in Premiere. As you can see, as my sample video, I've got "My Heart Will Go On" from Titanic. I'm I don't know why I chose this, but I did. I've also got this image of this outer space galaxy. So we're just gonna do a basic kind of intro with editing. First thing general to remember, see how this yellow tab, that means that this is not fully rendered. If there are a lot of effects going on, this will be red, but it has to be green in order for you to export your project. So the way to render anything is, let's say I make all these changes, and this is red and yellow, it's unrendered. I'd go to Sequence, Render Into Out, or you could render a specific selection as a test. And then when you see your entire project, it'll be green. Might take a while if you've got a lot of effects going on. That's when we can finally export our project. And we'll go into exporting and all of that stuff. That'll be separate, or maybe we'll just include that actually in this video just so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. So, okay, so I've got my source. Let's go ahead and I'll separate these so I can edit the audio and the video separately. So I right-click, hit unlink. Now I can edit the audio and video separately. Remember, use my zoom keys, and my quick keys that I'll be using are going to be the V for the selection and the C for the razor cut tool. So let's get weird with it. It's Titanic. So I really wanted to focus on doing some kind of strange visual effects to Celine Dion's face here. So first I'm going to select a part of the sequence that I'm going to apply this effect edit to. So I hit C, I have my magnetic selection on, my snap tool on. So I hit C, and that makes that cut right where I have my playhead. So you can make very precise edits. You can zoom in a lot and do frame by frame. If you use the arrow tab, frame, it'll show these individual frames of the project. There it is. So you can make very precise edits. So I'll have her face from here to here, let's just say. So I'd make another cut right there. And then I hit V to go back to select. So if I double click this, I have what I'm editing pulled up in my viewer. The reason it's so small is because I actually downloaded this really low quality, so it wouldn't take up a lot of space. And so I've already actually changed the scale of this. So under Scale, you have all these basic video effect tabs at the top here, under this FX Motion tab. And so I can change the scale if I click 600. Oops. Okay. Look like 800. Why is that not? Oh, there we go. Okay, there you go. So now you can see that it's, increasing the size of the frame. So if I wanted to add a ton of Celine Dion's in here, I could easily do that. You can edit copy a clip, or you can always hold down Alt and then click and then drag it, and you'll make a quick copy. So again, that's just clicking, pressing Alt, holding down Alt, and dragging. You can keep making copies of clips that way. Go ahead and delete those. Okay, so now I've got another Celine Dion clip stacked. So just to give an idea of how you can have different screens going on at once in the same viewer, I could change this to 200, and then I click this tab, this little bounding box to the right of FX next to Motion. So now I can move this around and can make that smaller or bigger, or turn it on its side, rotate that. You can make very precise changes to anything under here, position and scale. So this is actually showing like the XY axis. And you can change that percentage and get it exactly how you want it. And then remember, you can always just copy that exact same tab again, and it'll make another copy of it. So you can keep moving things around, get really experimental just with adding different PIPs, picture in picture, into your project. So yeah, so that's one form of editing. We're gonna get into keying, animating later, But if you take a look at these tabs, you'll see this little stopwatch icon, and if you hover it, it'll say toggle animation. So if you wanted to animate, let's just go ahead and do this, and we can do a more detailed video later. But let's say that I wanted to animate one of these. Okay, so that's the one that I have highlighted to animate. Let's say that I wanted this picture to drag across the screen and get larger. So I'd animate the position, and I'm animating the scale. And maybe could animate the rotation too. Okay, so the way this works is it made these keyframes. These are these little dots that it added to the timeline. Remember, this is just a zoomed in version of where I am in the greater timeline in my effect controls tab. So if I go back exactly where I made where I clicked that stopwatch, that's where I made this initial animation. That's why it turned it blue. And so now I have to choose the parameters of where I want this animation to take place. By the way, this is exactly how animating in After Effects is done as well. So let's say that I wanted all my animation that I changed to this little video to stop here towards the end of the clip. So now I'd make new keyframes, and I'm going to go ahead and make the changes that I want to occur at the very end, and it will take place between this initial keyframe and this keyframe at the end. So let's say that I want to change the rotation of the clip. Maybe I want it more extreme than that. Remember, I can manually do this, or I can enter in the number, or I can just click this bounding box and actually manually rotate it myself, right? So I changed to 83 degrees, and I'm going to go ahead and increase, I'll move it. Let's say that I want it to go over here, and it shows the motion path, that blue line. And then I'll change the scale to, let's say, 160. Okay, so now you can see that animation taking place between where it was originally. Alright, really silly. And I'm viewing this in 1/4 quality because let's say that you've got some really high quality videos that you're animating. You might want your computer power is going to be, it's going to be kind of slowed if you're viewing this without rendering it in full quality. So you can view it in a 4th, even an 8th, a 16th of quality, and that way it'll go much. See, the quality is down, the definition's down, but I can make a lot of animations and the playback will be smooth. And it doesn't change the resolution when you actually export it. It's just for editing. Very helpful. So that's some basic kind of frame editing you can do.